I didn't know anything really about prostate cancer before I was diagnosed. I thought it was an old man's disease. I thought most men would die with it, not of it. I thought it, my dad didn't have it, so I didn't really think that I was going to get it. My brothers didn't have it, so I figured maybe, it's something somebody else gets.
I don't think I knew anything, quite really. I think normally before you get diagnosed, most guys, I don't think they have a clue.
My knowledge base was pretty slim. It probably was at the point where I knew I had a prostate gland and I knew that people got cancer there. But as far as anything else about it, I really didn't have a lot of knowledge.
I wish I knew, first of all, what the prostate was, because I knew I had a prostate, but I wasn't really too sure. What does this organ in my body do? So I wasn't too sure about that. I was also told by friends that, you're going to be incontinent, you'll have erectile dysfunction, you're going to have all of this. So in other words, there was somewhat of the fear-mongering. So I wish I knew a little more about that, or that I had perhaps maybe researched about it, or maybe listened to the media a little more about what prostate cancer is all about. Because then I could sort of go back to my friends and sort of say, no, wait a minute here, that doesn't necessarily happen to everybody with treatment. So what I really wish I would know and had known is the fact that it's a man's disease. I wish that more men would talk about it.
I recommend procure.ca. It's a website out of Quebec, very, very good. Of course, the Prostate Cancer Canada website is good. There's some phenomenal websites and chat rooms that people can go to. Do a little bit of Google searching and you'll find them. And people who are going through the experience at every stage will be talking about it. Some of it's pretty grim. It's not all happy news. But you can learn a great deal from those websites, and patients talking to patients, and caregivers are involved, and so on and so forth. You can go and do the research, a lot of the research yourself. So when you go to talk to the doctor, you're much more familiar with what is being discussed, and you have a better idea of what questions to ask. And don't be afraid to ask the questions. That's important.
I had 3-4 friends, acquaintances who'd gone through prostate cancer treatment previously. And they were very willing to talk to me when I called them, and spent quite a bit of time on both the phone and face-to-face talking to them. The second area was through Wellspring. I found a prostate cancer support group in the Oakville, Mississauga area that I find, and still do find, extremely useful to go and dialogue with. And a lot of the information that helped me through the treatment, I learned from the people at the centre and at the support group. And thirdly, I did a fair bit of research in the internet.
The one thing I would tell people is, don't spend time looking on the net, because there's so much misinformation on the internet when it comes to prostate cancer, or probably for any other disease. Most of it is written by people who are trying to sell something or the other, so stay far away from it.
The information that I received that was helpful came from Wellspring. I have to say that being in a room with a cohort that has either gone through it or about to go through it with you was helpful in giving me information on my treatment options and the best places to have that treatment and the options for the treatment. So Wellspring first, like I said, I was trolling the internet.
Stick to sites that are reputable. In other words, the Canadian Cancer Society, or our own prostate support site, or there are some good ones in the United States, Johns Hopkins, and some of the better known hospitals. But believe me, there are all kinds of quack sites that will tell you that they can cure prostate cancer.
Beware of the internet and the information that's on there. Start with your local support groups, start with your local cancer groups, and then if you still need something, consider the internet. But don't start there. You'll get overwhelmed. It's just a disaster. lots of information, lots of good information, but lots of bad information, lots of information trying to pull you towards certain services, skewed by the institutions that are promoting whatever treatment option they're promoting.
What was helpful in educating me in my research was, first of all, knowing that I'm not alone, which was wonderful. I knew then that, okay, there's been a lot of other men that have been diagnosed with prostate cancer. So therefore, that was actually very helpful for me, knowing that. Secondly, was also what the treatments were available, because my urologist basically said to me as soon as I was diagnosed that we will likely then it'll be surgery. And I thought, no, wait a minute, that's not going to be my first option. I want other options, and I want to know what they are. He then actually sat me down in front of a video and showed me some of the options of which I had. And it was through that I was making some decisions, okay, that I will accept as a perhaps a cure, or not necessarily a cure, but a treatment. And that one I will not accept. And I decided that an operation is not going to be my first option.
I think about 3 or 4 reference books by various doctors, and that really filled in a lot of the gaps. And once you read these, you are much more informed, so you can attack the problem much more knowledgeably.
Actually, the Canadian Prostate Cancer Network, I got this at Sunnybrook. It's called Prostate Cancer, a booklet for patients, and it's a phenomenal piece of work. That was one of the best pieces of information that I came up with. There were a number of others that I got from various sources, but I say that booklet was probably the best of the bunch.
If you're going to read up on it, look for books that have been written within, I would say, the last 5 to 6 years, because things change so fast that if you read things that are written in the 1990s and so on, it's way different what goes on today. So stick to things within the past 5 years.
At the beginning, I asked my urologist, who wasn't particularly forthcoming in all the different options that were out there at the time, and it was just by chance, sitting in his office, I saw this magazine called Our Voice. And I asked him if I could have a copy. It was just sitting there, and he said, sure, probably won't do much for you, but yeah, go ahead. It was through that magazine I found our support group here in Kitchener, in the Waterloo area, but also found some other information that I wasn't aware of before. And that triggered me into looking further. But unfortunately for me, I'd already had my surgery and was awaiting radiation treatment when I discovered this. It was after going to Roswell Park in Buffalo for my radiation treatments that I really started to take a serious look, because frankly, I didn't want other men to have to go through what I was going through. And I wanted to know what I could do to make a change. And in championing that, I felt I could get through this a lot better, because it gave me a purpose.